Hey, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show.
And I'm Tim. We're going to talk today about the red lion's head. Get excited.
Yeah, we love Acer palmatum Kurenai jishi. This is one of our favorite dwarf compact forms. It makes an excellent tree for that small landscape or bonsai, and it's one I think you're going to love in your landscaping garden.
This is a plant that goes through some amazing color changes. In the early spring when it leaves out, it has this nice rich color with some nice twisting leaves that gives it something very unique, something very different, going to a darker green midsummer and then going to a bold orange in the fall. This is one of those plants that I really like. You want to give it some sunlight to really peak up these colors. If you grow this in deep shade, you won't get this red color that you get with some sunlight.
Yeah, we're actually here in mid-March in Western North Carolina, so these are just starting to leaf out. We wanted to get these on camera and show them to you because we have some excellent sizes available in these right now. I would say these are larger than typical forests. They're a very good size for this dwarf compact form. We're actually listing these are large 1 gallons. They're very well branched, very thick, just starting to leaf out like Tim said with that bright pink growth. But this is one you're definitely going to want to add to that fairy garden or that rock garden. Makes an excellent container plant, and it's going to go in that smaller conifer style garden and really put a splash of color in there.
Now this is a really slow growing tree. Typically a lot of our 1 gallons are about 6 to 8 inches, and that would be a large size for these. So these are really, really large 1 gallons. And again, we're here in March of 2022. If you're seeing this at a later time, they're likely going to be smaller than this. But this is an amazing size. You better jump on these quick because a lot of these really could go to 3 gallons.
And some of these are even larger than this.
Yeah.
We actually tried to pick the middle of the set. There's some that are even probably in this size range, so there's some really good deals on these. This is one that a name was put on by our good friend Yano. We got to go to World Maple Park and visit with Masayoshi Yano, and Yano-san's been so gracious with us and sharing information and just his time. And this is one that was found by a friend of his, and then he put the name on it. Kurenai jishi, meaning red or dark lion. Excellent dwarf, and it's going to be kind of the comparison to that Shishigashira. This is often referred to as that red lion, and it was almost like a highly sought after, like it was almost like fabled at one point in the nursery trade that this one was out there in Japan. And you know, Shishigashira has always been such a staple in the American landscape for Japanese maples. It's always been so popular. So that red lion was like that highly sought after new thing, and it's still really new. I mean, to me, it's like, you know, it's still cutting edge for me. I love this plant.
Yeah, I remember when we hadn't been to Japan yet, and people were saying, hey, in Japan, they've got a red lion's head. And it was just one of those plants that's just, it's one of those things where it's that mythological plant that you've never seen that you want, and it fits the billing so well. I mean, it has the twisting, curling leaf, similar to the Shishigashira, how Shishigashira has a twisting, curling leaf. Mm-hmm. Very tight, compact structure, and a really slow growing plant, so excellent for the dwarf container, small place in the landscape, or fairy gardens for sure.
We just started leafing out. These will actually densen up like you're familiar with. If you're familiar with Shishigashira, they'll actually get very full all the way to the base, so they're just starting to leaf out. So the tops are full right now, but they'll actually get full all the way down. Very dense, nice structure to these. I think it's one of my favorites. I mean, it's, you know, if you're into those dwarf or compact types like the Makawa family, you know, this one could be in its own Shishigashira family with Shishigashira, I guess. It's kind of one of the first true variants of that style, but it's highly sought after, always popular, and definitely one you should add to your garden.
I like this plant just because it's so unique and so different than a lot of other things that are out there. It has that brick red color, which isn't your typical maroon, on a small dwarf, and the curling habit just gives it something lively, makes it have a unique texture in the landscape and garden. And if you give this tree some sunlight, as this tree fully finishes unfurling, they're just now starting to leaf here in March here in Western North Carolina in the cold frames. It really puts on a show.
Yeah, this one's awesome for sun, actually up to zone 8. So you can have this one in a good amount of sun. You know, we do actually recommend if you can get it some late day shade, you'll hold those spring colors longer into the summer. In heavy sun, this one does get to more of like an emeraldy green with the neon pink new growth over top of it in the sun, which is really nice as well. I mean, those curling twists on top are often some of the most colorful in my sunny garden I have this in. But if you can give it some late day shade, sometimes you can hold some of those spring colors a little bit later into the season. I think it's the quintessential tree for a container. I mean, you can use it in a lot of landscapes and a lot of different uses, but it's excellent for a pot. It's one that's going to bring high drama to a small landscape or small garden, and I think it's one you've got to have in your garden.
Shishigashira or is one of the plants that often gives a very consistent fall color. And Kurenai jishi seems to be that way as well. I mean, with that bold orange color, it just gives you something extra that makes this tree even stand out in the fall as a nice dwarf that a lot of people can use in their landscape and garden because of that smaller size.
Hey, if you want to find amazing Japanese maples like the one in today's video, then check out our sponsor. Today's sponsor is MrMaple.com. It's a great place to buy Japanese maples. They have over 1,000 different varieties of Japanese maples. There's definitely something you're going to find and love at MrMaple.com.
So if you're wanting one of these beautiful trees today, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to our website also and subscribe to our weekly email. We have 10 new trees every Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Hey, thanks for supporting this channel, and definitely support our sponsor at MrMaple.com. So here we have an up-close look at those unfurling leaves of Acer palmatum Kurenai jishi. As you can see, when this tree first starts to leaf out, often some of the foliage is a little more flat. These will actually get even more curled as they continue to unfurl, and they'll get more of that Shishigashira-like rigidity to them, where they kind of have that curled look.
We're here in mid to late March of 2022, just to give you an idea of the time frame of this plant just beginning to leaf out. Kurenai jishi really has that nice brick red color, and that curling leaf just gives this plant something really special, something unique, and something that gives you a really good texture out in the landscape and garden.
Yeah, I know Brian mentioned it before, but I like that green vein on these. I think it really gives it something interesting, especially nice in the early spring garden, how it has that little green divided vein through every leaf. Kind of just picks that red up and really accents everything on the leaf.
This is one of those plants that just gets you excited whenever you love Japanese maples because it's so different and unique, and this sort of mysticism it has behind it being the red lion's head. I mean, this is just something that's really special, and because of that mysticism that existed, it's one of those plants that I will always love.
So I'm here with Brian, who's a longtime collector turned MrMaple employee here.
That's right.
And we've switched him sides over here to the worker side of the nursery world. Brian, I know you were a big fan of Kurenai jishi in your garden back in Oklahoma. What really drew you to this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, I had such a huge collection of maples, and so I was always looking for something that kind of stood apart from everything else. You know, once you start getting at so many varieties, you're looking for something really special, and that's what Kurenai jishi is. I mean, it's just, there's nothing else really like it. You were talking about that earlier about how that it compared to the Shishigashira, you kind of have something that's in that same realm, but a beautiful color. You know, I mean, it just really does stand out. No matter where you got it in the garden, it's going to be something that catches your eye immediately. That's what I really enjoyed about it.
Oh, it's a showstopper for sure. It's one, you know, I've got it in my Makawa family collection there in that garden. I've got a fairly nice size one. It throws some red in there. It gets those late summer flushes that really, I think, show out and make it something special. And you really encouraged us to get these on camera just because we had some really good sizes of these, right?
Well, you know, as a collector, I'm always, you know, I was always curious to see, you know, what you had in stock. So today, you know, I was just thinking, I was like, man, if people knew what you had here, they'd be buying a lot of these, because I'd probably ordered like 5 of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
full disclosure, we actually picked like the medium size ones. We have some even bigger ones here.
I mean, you know, every time we were picking in our orders, you know, we were just looking at these, and all of us guys were like, oh my gosh, these are amazing. I think Sean wound up taking one home. I brought one home too for my new collection here in North Carolina. I'm starting a little potted maple on my porch right now, so I just couldn't let these just sit by, you know, without people knowing what you had.
I think they're just a can't miss Japanese maple. It's one that's going to work zones 5 through 9. Again, give it that late day shade in zone 9. But this is a Japanese maple that you can't miss with. It's a beautiful tree. I think even the novelist is going to see this one and be like, that's special. Even if you don't know Japanese maples, it's gonna spark your interest in this one.
Yeah, I think no matter what level of collecting you're in or what type of garden you have, I think this is something that would fit perfectly. And when you really get up and see it, it's just absolutely amazing. Every leaf's got a unique shape. You can see some of the veining in it when it first leaves out. That beautiful dark red color, brick red color. It's absolutely stunning.
And I like to reiterate to everyone too, these are just starting to leaf, so they'll get very dense. It's almost like that fullness you're familiar with Makawa Yatsubusa.
Very similar.
It's going to get that fullness to it. It's very thick and full. But hey, we hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a little bit different look at some products we have available right now. Again, I hope you enjoyed this kind of just behind the scenes look at some of the Kurenai jishi that are currently available in March of 2022. Thanks for watching. God bless.
And have a great day.